Hello everyone and welcome to another game reflection. I'm Luigi Pegara and today I want to talk about Dragon Age 2. It's been a while since I've done these game reflections. So, Dragon Age 2, let me say first up that I did not play Dragon Age 1. And a lot of people on the internet are saying that Dragon Age 1 or Dragon Age Origins, I'm not sure which one, I get kind of confused. That Dragon Age 2 is an inferior game compared to Dragon Age 1. And I'm starting to believe it. So I thought it was best to buy Dragon Age 2 because many people complain about its story. That it's not as epic, that it's not a work of art like Dragon Age 2. And I agree with them. But since I played Dragon Age 2 first, I don't have this feeling of disappointment. And I bought the game. You can probably see the price tag. I bought Dragon Age 2 with a very specific goal in mind. Number one, I wanted a fantasy game. Fantasy action game. That was number one. Number two, I wanted a fantasy version of Mass Effect. And Dragon Age 2 is developed by the same developer, BioWare, of Mass Effect. And I was a big fan of Mass Effect, especially number 2, not number 3. I haven't played number 1 yet, but I plan on getting it on the PC. So, and by my criteria of a fantasy action game and a fantasy version of Mass Effect, it succeeds. It succeeds. So, let's talk about the gameplay. It's got several systems. The combat system is very frenetic. Like you're mashing buttons like whack, whack, and everything. You can kind of actually see like the points of impact as you're beating on the enemies. I just wish it would just zoom in. I was playing Mass Effect 3 the other day, and I just wish that in comparison to Dragon Age 2, I wish they would zoom in so I can see more of the lovely graphics and of the fight battles. So, come to think of it, even on a non-high definition screen, Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect 2 looks beautiful. It still looks big enough. You can still see the models of the characters. But in Dragon Age 2, everything is a little bit too tiny for me. The other comparison I can make is like the pause system, which isn't really like a pause system. How you press start to pause the game. I'm talking about you press L2, if you're playing on a PlayStation, that is, to pause, and you've got in combat phase you got several characters, usually 4 from a selection of 7. I'll get into that later. 4 characters in battle phase, right? And you can pause and issue commands via L2. Say you select the player character Hawk, press L2, you can switch over to Meryl or Varric or anything, and you can tell them to drink a potion or do a specific spell. But unlike in Mass Effect, you can't say when you're controlling as Shepard, you pause the game and you can issue commands to say, I want Liara there, I want Fane there, and you can't do that. So if you want to be tactical, be strategy-wise in Dragon Age 2 when it comes to fighting bosses and so forth, you have to manually switch to a different character, move to a new position, and tell them to wait there. It's not as intuitive as Mass Effect's system where you can just select, where you can order the other party members to go to specific positions on the map, on the level, and you can do that without having to switch characters, and I thought it was a little bit cumbersome. And it can work. I usually play as a mage. I'll tell you why in a minute. I usually play mage, but you can switch to other characters who are either a warrior or a rogue and have a go with them and perform spells. And it works kind of. I just prefer the Mass Effect system a little bit more. So I play as a mage, and I played as a mage because I thought it was a lot more funner in being a mage. Gameplay wise, it's a lot better, and story wise, it's also a lot better. I tried being a rogue and I tried being a warrior, but they weren't as fun as being a mage. It's pretty cool being a mage. You get a staff, you get elemental weapons, and you can modify them with runes, so you can have fire damage or frost damage, spirit damage, whatever. And you can also whack them about with your staff like a Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. So I like being mage. And it also ties into the whole mage versus Templar storyline. I think it's better to play as a mage because if you can play as a warrior and a rogue who has a soft spot for mages, but the main storyline, it makes more sense. It has much more of a personal connection if you're a mage. You know what I mean? I just found I had a lot more personal connection playing as a mage in regards to the mages versus Templar storyline. So, back to the story, I think it does seem a little bit rushed. I must agree with that. The 3-act structure, I do like it. It's just, this is a common complaint. It has this storytelling device that years pass over time. Say between Act 1 and Act 2, like 3 years pass. Excuse me. Between Act 1 and Act 2, 3 years pass in game time. And it feels like 3 years hasn't been passed in game time. Like nothing's changed, the models, the textures seem the same, you get a new house, but that's pretty much it. The relationships are the same. I found it seemed pointless to do that. The 3 years have passed. It almost felt like a week has passed. Oh, I'm dribbling. Gosh, I'm getting dementia. So yeah, it would have been much better if it just said a week passes, not 3 years passes. It seemed really ridiculous. That, I do have a problem with it. And there is this thing where Hawk's family, the player character's family, gets put through the ringer. I'm not going to spoil it into everything, but it was like the developers were like trying to cram as much pain and misery towards the player character as possible. And it was a bit too noticeable. But other than that, I like the main arcs. I like the Deep Roads arc, I like the Arashok arc, and I like the Mages versus Templar arc. And unlike other games, they don't seem to connect. I mean, plot-wise, a plot is it's a story or a narrative which goes from one end, from A to B to C to D. And with the 3 acts that Dragon Age 2 presents us with, there's no like common element bringing it together. So it seems a little bit disjointed. So that and the time passing is very disjointed. I want to talk a little bit about the characters. So the companions, you get to meet a whole variety of them, from elves to rogues to pirates. It was a pleasure in Dragon Age 2 to learn about the world, this new world, because Dragon Age 2 is my first Dragon Age game, and you all know I'm a big Skyrim fan, and I enjoy Mass Effect, so it's just very exciting to learn about this new world, to know about these characters, and I grew to love these characters, from like strangers, like these archetypes of dark fantasy fiction, And I just loved how I got to meet these characters like Varric, Dwarf without to be, Fenris, Meryl, Isabella, Anders, um, Aveline, Carver, Bethany, depending on who you choose. I like them a lot. I like these characters very a lot. I like doing their quests. I like finding more about them, what bothers them, what upsets them, and it actually feeds into a rivalry friendship system. So in Mass Effect you have Paragon and Renegade, which isn't exactly good versus evil decisions. I'd say that Renegade is good. It's just being good by being an asshole, you know? Being good by being an asshole. And you got tons of those decisions to make in Dragon Age 2. You can be kind-hearted person, you can be sarcastic, which I played, or you can be a jerk, an aggressive jerk. And you're essentially a good person, depending on which way of the Templar mage thing in the end game you choose to accept. That's your decide. You're still essentially a good person. It's a hard decision. Both Templars and mages have monsters, literal and thematically monsters on their side, so it's difficult to choose. But the friendship and rival system I do like. Kind of wish it did feature in Mass Effect. In Mass Effect, it was way too easy to start a romance with the other shipmates. In Mass Effect, it was way too easy to start a romance with one of the shipmates. All you have to do is do things that are agreeable to them. But in Dragon Age 2, there's a system, friendship rivalry. And depending on what the companion likes, depending on, for example, let's say Isabella. Isabella, she likes the money, but she hates it when you're horrible to women. So when you're doing a quest that an NPC gives you, and it presents you with an opportunity to save women, she likes that. Or if the quest gives you an opportunity to squeeze some more money out of the merchant, she likes that. But however, if you're nasty to women or you don't take the advantage of getting more money, she dislikes it. So if she likes certain choices that you make, you get +5 or +10 friendship points. If she dislikes it, you get +5, +10 rivalry points. And it's a little tough to figure out. This will bring up to into a later point. It's a little hard to figure out what they like and dislike. Even though it seems that way, sometimes the decision that you make may not affect it. Like, for example, you think that taking the correct path in the dialogue options to net you some more friendship points is to be nice. But sometimes some characters want you to be like a badass, to be aggressive. And they appreciate that more. So it's difficult to figure out. Like it's easy to pick up but hard to master. And that is another theme of Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 is easy to master, hard to pick up. I find that all the equipment and all the weapons, because of my small TV screen, it was hard to read, hard to figure out whether there was for my player character or for the companions, you know? So, playing many fantasy games, it is akin to South Park or Skyrim, where you got equipment who has special effects like plus the stamina or plus fire damage. But sometimes it's hard to figure out which one of those were best, you know? And your inventory can get quite full. So it's easy to pick up, you know, a fire stuff does fire damage, but hard to master because you don't know which fire stuff does the more damage and has more bonuses for your character or for your playstyle. So that's one of the main problems. That was a beautiful tangent, but the rivalry friendship path, the game gives you an opportunity via companion quests and gifts that you give to companions, to your party members, and they will increase their friendship or rivalry bar depending on how much it's already at. Some may get jealous depending if you've got rivalry too much, or they love you if you've got friendship. And basically, rivals doesn't mean enemies. They're still your friends. They're just it's like they're trying to compete with you. You know, they have much more aggressive answers to your choices, and the opposite with friendship, obviously. And you know, you could say good and bad sort of thing, but it's much more complex than good and bad. And friendship obviously has its bonuses. You can romance them. And rivalry does too. Yeah, it opens up another ability, just like friendship. So it's, other than for New Game Plus sort of thing, for completion, there's not really too much difference between friendship and rivalry with your companions, other than like I said, the abilities or the interactions they give you. But other than that, it's a simple system. I do like this system. I wish it was more developed. That's all I'm saying. Let's put on my thing again. Okay. So to finish up, I recommend. Oh gosh. Ugh. Okay. So to conclude this video, this game reflection, I must say that I really enjoyed Dragon Age 2, but if you want to get into the Dragon Age, if you don't want to get let down, I recommend Dragon Age 2 first, then Dragon Age Origins, then Dragon Age 3, Inquisition, I think. So the order you should play in is 2, 1, 3. And I suggest that, then going to traditional 1, 2, 3, is because that you're going to get less disappointed when you compare Dragon Age 1 to 2, story-wise and gameplay-wise. And I think Dragon Age 2 is a far more beginner-friendly... God damn it, this fucking thing. I think Dragon Age 2 is far more user-friendly, much more new user-friendly. If you want to get into it, Dragon Age 2 is definitely more accessible than Dragon Age 1. And then the formula gets refined in Dragon Age Inquisition, so I'm led to believe. So that is my recommendation. Get Dragon Age 2 first, then Dragon Age Origins, and you enjoy yourself a lot better. But for what it did, it's a great action fantasy game. It's, if you like Mass Effect, which I do, if you like the conversation, the romance, and the action in Mass Effect, you definitely enjoy Dragon Age. And if you like dark fantasy, like Game of Thrones and Joe Abercrombie books, not so much Lord of the Rings, it's definitely a very unique take on it. It's a very enjoyable game, and I feel like playing it right now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm glad you made it this far. If you agree with me or don't agree with me, that's fine. Leave a comment below or make a video and I'll watch that as well. Thank you for watching.